Hi, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado, and welcome to another one of my photography talks. Today I want to talk about gear. This, for some reason, has been the most popular camera of all the reviews I've done on cameras, the Nikon FE, which I would think the FE2 would trump it, but the FE is a classic camera. And I know people who use these who say, I've had it since the 70s when they came out, and it still works. So the FE2 added higher shutter speeds. You could shoot a 2,000th and a 4,000th of a second shutter speed, whereas the FE only goes to 1,000. But it's such a wonderful camera, and it has an aperture priority mode. It has one automatic mode. So you put it in auto, you set the aperture, and it'll set the corresponding necessary shutter speed. It's got basic bells and whistles like exposure compensation you can use. This one has a Nikkor 51.8. It doesn't say Series E, but it's like the Series E. It's got a real tiny focus ring, so it's almost like a pancake lens. If I take it off of here, you see it's really narrow. That's a lot of them said 50mm Series E. This one doesn't say that. This one says 50mm 1.8, but it's really the same build as their Series E. And I always thought Series E meant economy, and I'm not sure if that's exactly right, but I'm guessing that's what that meant. And so aesthetically, I like the fact it doesn't say Series E, and yet it's still the pancake lens. This camera setup with a little cute jacket and a eye cup is a very simple camera you can carry every day. It's not terribly heavy, and you can do so much with. And you'll pay less than an FE2, and it's quite capable. It's one of those cameras that I think, because it's so durable, because it's so trustworthy, consistent, reliable, that's the word, you can do a lot with it. If you find one and it doesn't seem to be working, the shutter doesn't work, test it. Let me see if there's any film in this one. I don't think there is. No, there's no. You can only tell if there's film in a camera by cranking on the rewind knob in a clockwise direction, as if you're pulling the film out. And if there's film in there, because it's on the spool, it'll tension up and you won't be able to turn it. So there's no film in this. So if I go to use it at a 30th of a second, you have to turn it on by pulling the rewind or the advance lever out. Do you hear that? It went, the opening shutter went, but the closing shutter didn't finish. So it has a bad battery in it. Oh, no, it doesn't. I'm completely wrong. It actually has a battery in it, and it's working. That was a 30th of a second. Here's a 1/4 of a second. Yeah, it's working. If you find one of these that's not working, sometimes you'll push the button and it will open up the shutter, but it won't close it, or it won't do anything. It's got an electronic shutter, and so a battery needs to run that shutter. But there's one marking that says M90. That's the shutter speed. If you're testing it and it won't work anywhere else, put it on M90 and it should always work. Even if it doesn't work any other speed, if it works at M90, that tells you it's probably the battery. And I have this habit of pushing this in. Every time I do, it won't fire. It's got a lock built in to that handle. So if you push it in, it won't shoot. So you don't waste film that way. And then it's got a little double exposure lever, which nowadays I'm not sure you really need with Photoshop, but it's, back in the day, you want to shoot in camera, double exposures, the simplest way. You just shoot, push that little button down, and advance it, and it didn't move the film at all. It basically uncoupled the advance for that frame. Real simple. It has shutter speeds all the way down to 8 seconds, 8 full seconds, below 1 second, and they're all timed by the electronics. Good, simple little camera, and again, you'll find them sold to students and then resold and unloaded from schools. If you watch Craigslist near universities, you'll see these pop up. I see them in thrift stores. It's a great camera. It's, for some reason, the one most watched on my show, so I thought we'd talk about it again, and I'd recommend it. I'd highly recommend it. An FE2 just as well, but the FE, a workhorse of a camera. I worked at a newspaper, and this was the kind of camera that everybody had in their case along with their F2 or F3 because it was such a workhorse and it was a good second body. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button and we'll talk some more photography tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.